everyone, this is Dr. Hamilton, and this slideshow is to introduce you to the play Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare. My goal in this slideshow is simply to give you a summary of the play and to give you a view of some of the key details in the play to help reinforce your understanding of the events of the play. I introduce you to key characters so that you can learn to distinguish them from each other, conflicts, and scenes. I do not conduct a lot of analysis in this slideshow, so just there is not going to be a lot of analysis. It is just trying to introduce you to the play and get you used to it. So let's get started here. So the play begins after the successful war. Don Pedro travels to Messina, Italy, for a vacation with his soldiers. They arrive. This is Don Pedro at the center of the screen. And they're welcomed to Messina by Leonates, the governor. So as soon as they arrive, and they're on this kind of vacation, Claudio, one of Don Pedro's officers, immediately falls in love with Hero. And Hero is the daughter of Leonates, who, as I said, is the governor. So Claudio's best friend, Benedick, doesn't think that Hero is very attractive, although Claudio wants Benedick's opinion of her. He also thinks, more generally, that love itself is ridiculous. That a woman conceived me, I thank her. That she brought me up, I likewise give her most humble thanks. But that I will not be made a fool of by a wife who cheats on me, all women shall pardon me. So Benedick is a professed bachelor. He has claims that he wants to remain single for the rest of his life. Benedick, however, has an ongoing insult competition with Hero's best friend, Beatrice. Benedick mocks Beatrice. I would my horse had the speed of your tongue. Beatrice is charming, full of mischief, and loves to make fun of people. She has a sort of innate happiness within her spirit. There was a star danced, and under that was I born. Beatrice has also sworn never to fall in love. I'd rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me. We find out later on that actually part of the reason why Beatrice has never fallen in love or never wants to fall in love is that she did fall in love with Benedick at some point in the past, and he kind of broke her heart. So that's another reason why they have this insult competition going on. So Claudio confesses to Don Pedro, Prince of Aragon, that he is in love with Hero, but he is too shy to ask her to marry him because her father is the governor, and he doesn't really feel quite worthy of her. Now, in Shakespeare, Claudio is a count, and he still is a nobility. So she's a daughter of a governor, a little bit higher in social rank. They're not that far apart, but he still feels quite insecure about marrying her, worried about what other people will say and that she'll reject him. However, so Don Pedro offers to help Claudio marry Hero. How is he going to help her? So Don Pedro is going to pretend to be Claudio at a party where everyone is wearing masks. He will then ask Hero to marry him. The only problem is that Don Pedro's brother, Don John, wants to ruin the marriage. I'd rather be a canker in a hedge than a rose in his grace. Don John plans to poison Claudio's mind with jealousy by telling him that Hero is too good for him. So Don John finds Claudio at the party, who in Brannon's production is wearing a baby mask, aptly, because babies have tantrums, and that is sort of the emotional state of Claudio at this point. Don Pedro pretends that he doesn't know Claudio, and tells him that Don Pedro has betrayed Claudio. He tells him that Don Pedro really wants to steal Hero for himself. Claudio believes Don John because he's insecure. He does not believe really deep down that he's worthy of Hero. He wants to believe the worst about her. Friendship is constant in all other things, but in the affairs of love. Beauty is a witch, against whose charms faith melteth into blood. Don Pedro returns, though, and it turns out that he has not tried to steal Hero, but has actually secured Claudio's marriage. Don John's first attempt to destroy the marriage has been overcome. Don Pedro, pleased by his triumph, decides to attempt to trick Benedick and Beatrice into falling in love with one another. Don Pedro gets Benedick's friend to walk by where Benedick can hear them talking. So Benedick overhears his friends, and so his friends are all in a conspiracy now to get Benedick to fall in love. They kind of think Benedick is full of pride and kind of looks down on the whole notion of falling in love, and they want to take him down a peg. I guess they also sort of want to make him happy. So his friends pretend that Beatrice is in love with Benedick, but that she is afraid to tell him because he will make fun of her. So Benedick feels terrible and decides that he will declare his love for Beatrice. When I said I would die a bachelor, I did not think I should live till I were married. And later on, there's a very funny scene in which Beatrice comes to get Benedick for something, and Benedick believes that she must be in love with him, and he starts reading all of these different reading into all these things that she says, believing that she's in love when in fact she's insulting him. Meanwhile, Beatrice's friends play the same trick on her. They pretend Benedick is in love with Beatrice. Beatrice overhears them, not knowing that they are actually deceiving her. Beatrice's friends are delighted that their plan works. Beatrice then decides that she is going to fall in love with Benedick, and she says she will tame her wild heart to his loving hand. Meanwhile, Don John is angry that his first plan has not worked. However, his servant Borachio has a new plan to stop Claudio's marriage. He will trick Claudio into believing Hero is cheating on him. Don John then tells Claudio and Don Pedro that he has proof Hero has been cheating on Claudio. Don John then takes Claudio and Don Pedro outside to spy under Hero's window. Claudio believes that he sees Hero kissing another man. In the shadows, Hero's servant, Margaret, looks like Hero, but it's actually Borachio, who is Don John's man. Claudio is, of course, horrified. And at this point, after this scene, we're introduced to Dogberry. Dogberry is the guy in the middle, who is the leader of the sort of neighborhood police. This is a comical character, and Dogberry and Verges are meant to be funny. Dogberry and Verges tell Leonato that they have actually arrested Borachio, and that Leonato should examine Borachio this morning. But Dogberry is not a very serious character. Leonato has a hard time taking him seriously, and Leonato is trying to get to a wedding, so he says that he's in too much of a hurry, and he doesn't discover Don John's plot against Hero. So on the wedding day, Claudio and Hero are about to be married. Claudio explodes and accuses Hero of cheating on him. "What man was he talked with you yesternight out at your window betwixt 12 and 1? He screams at her. Hero is horrified. Her best friend Beatrice tries to comfort her, but Hero passes out in Beatrice's arms. Hero revives, but this gives the friar an idea. He tells Hero to pretend to be dead so that she can have the time to come up with a plan to save her reputation. Benedick finally gets the courage to tell Beatrice that he loves her. "I love you with so much of my heart that none of it is left to protest." Actually, that is Beatrice that says that. Excuse me. So Benedick finally gets up the courage to tell Beatrice he loves her. Beatrice also reveals, I love you with so much of my heart that none of it is left to protest. So she actually is in love with him. However, Beatrice is still sad and angry that her best friend Hero has been disgraced at her wedding. She tells Benedick if he loves her truly to go and kill his best friend Claudio. Oh God, that I were a man, I would eat his heart in the marketplace, she tells him. Benedick does not want to kill Claudio because he is his best friend, but he resolves to do it anyway after he realizes that this is something that Beatrice really believes. She really believes that Hero is innocent. Meanwhile, Dogberry and Verges have started their interrogation of Borachio. So since the entire play is based upon misunderstanding, the comedy of these scenes is in the fact that the characters who sort out the confusion are ironically the ones who are uneducated and mix up everything. The primary literary device in these scenes is the malapropism, which means mistaking one usually similar sounding word for another. So often, though, Dogberry's words are unintentionally true. Dogberry, for example, starts his interrogation by saying, is our whole dissembly appeared? Instead of saying, is our whole assembly appeared, is our whole dissembly appeared? And actually, it is true that all of the people who have lied, who have dissembled, who have deceived are, in fact, there. And he, in fact, is going to solve the crime. So Dogberry is silly, but he and Verges succeed in uncovering Don John's plot. Meanwhile, Leonato starts to believe his daughter after initially he believed Claudio, and he starts being angry at Claudio. Leonato runs into Claudio and challenges him. Canst thou get rid of me so easily? Thou hast killed my child. If thou killest me, boy, thou shalt kill a man. Claudio thinks the challenge is a joke because Leonato is old. Leonato steps away from the challenge. Meanwhile, Benedick comes and sees Claudio and gives him a real challenge. Benedick challenges Claudio to a sword fight. You are a villain, I jest not. I will make it good how you dare, what you dare, and when you dare. You have killed a sweet lady, and her death shall fall heavy on you. Before Claudio can get into the sword fight, Dogberry brings Borachio to Don Pedro. However, Borachio confesses that he helped Don John make it seem like he was kissing Hero the night before the wedding. Claudio and Don Pedro are horrified to learn that they have been deceived. Claudio begs Leonato's forgiveness. Leonato tells Claudius he will forgive him, but he must show that he's sorry by writing a poem for Hero and bringing it to her tomb. He must also marry his niece. Claudio goes to Hero's tomb and reads the poem expressing his remorse. The next day, he is to be married to the person that he thinks is Leonato's niece, and she's covered with a veil. And of course, he gets down on his knees in remorse at what he has done to her cousin, what he thinks is her cousin. However, she takes off the veil and she's revealed to be Hero. And they have a tearful reunion. Leonato says, she died, my lord, but whiles her slander lived. So as long as the lie about her was alive, she was dead. And they have a reconciliation. Meanwhile, Beatrice and Benedick are still under the illusion. They think that nobody knows that they're actually in love with each other, so they're still pretending that they don't love each other. Meanwhile, the rest of the wedding party know that they're in love with each other, and so they set them up. Claudio says that he's found these love poems that Benedick has written, and he's found love poems that Beatrice Hero finds love poems that Beatrice has written, and they finally admit to everyone that they are in love. And that's how it ends, folks. So I hope you guys enjoy that brief summary of the play. And thanks everybody, and take care.